King Charles and Queen Camilla are planning to visit the U.S. in April. The trip was confirmed by Buckingham Palace today. President Trump extended the invitation to help commemorate the 250th anniversary of American independence. There have been calls in the UK for the royals to not make the trip due to the war in Iran. Trump has criticized the British government for not helping in the conflict. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer says he does not want to get involved. Today, President Trump says the U.S. military has completed a regime change in Iran, suggesting they are more moderate than the previous supreme leader. Iran is still denying any negotiations. And Trump has threatened to destroy Iran's energy infrastructure if they do not reach a ceasefire deal soon. Also today, American bunker busters hit targets in Iran, and Iran struck a Kuwaiti oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz, keeping the waterway closed. Trump told other countries to either purchase U.S. oil or just take it from the strait. Today, Trump also wrote a post aimed at allies saying, quote, "You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there for us."
When we ask for additional assistance or simple access basing overflight, we get questions or roadblocks or hesitations. And the president's pointing out, you don't have much of an alliance if you have countries that are not willing to stand with you when you need them.
Strikes intensified in Lebanon today, where Israel says it is launching strikes at Iranian-backed Hezbollah forces. The Israeli defense minister saying Israel will demolish the Lebanon border villages to create a Gaza-style buffer zone. Well, gas is over $4 a gallon for the first time since the war began. AAA has the national average at $4.02, and here in Iowa, the average is $3.28. The U.S. benchmark crude is hovering above $100 a barrel, and the international benchmark, Brent crude, is even higher. Analysts worry the economic strain of the war could also increase U.S. inflation. A Local 5 has your back if you need help finding the lowest gas prices in the area. Just text gas to the number on your screen. That is 515-457-1026, and we'll send a list straight to your phone. The FBI confirmed that the attack on a Jewish temple in Michigan earlier this month was an act of terrorism. The suspect rammed a pickup truck into the synagogue with thousands of dollars worth of fireworks and 35 gallons of gasoline. The attacker shot himself and died after shooting at security officers. He was a naturalized U.S. citizen. Authorities say a week before the attack, members of his family in Lebanon were killed in an Israeli airstrike in the war with Iran. The Israeli military says one of his brothers was a Hezbollah commander. Lawyers representing Tyler Robinson are looking to postpone a hearing scheduled for May. Robinson is the man accused of fatally shooting conservative activist Charlie Kirk. His attorneys say they need more time to get ready for court and that the prosecution has not shared all the evidence. The motion claims that the ATF has yet to identify the bullet as a definitive match to the one that was used to kill Kirk. Prosecutors have been building a death penalty case against Robinson. The Supreme Court is hearing a case on birthright citizenship tomorrow. President Trump is trying to change it with an executive order. He doesn't want it to apply to babies born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants. But the 14th Amendment says, in part, people born or naturalized in the United States and under the jurisdiction of are citizens of the United States. And the administration argues the jurisdiction part empowers Trump's executive order. Critics argue changing birthright citizenship would be challenging and could force U.S. citizens to document their children's immigration status. And today, SCOTUS ruled against Colorado's law, which bans conversion therapy, saying it violates the First Amendment. This is a practice that categorizes LGBTQ+ as a mental illness that can be cured. This has been broadly scientifically discredited and linked to serious harm. Colorado is one of about 24 states that have banned the practice. Iowa is not one of those states, but a bill was introduced in the Iowa legislature this session concerning child abuse laws related to gender identity. Meanwhile, transgender people here in Iowa say they are still unpacking the Supreme Court's decision. They're also following legislation at the state capitol that would censor gender identity curriculum for Iowa kids all the way through high school. Today is Trans Day of Visibility, a day to celebrate and share stories of success and acknowledge their contributions and victories.
I think there's certainly something to be said about trans people being visible with our stories. I think that allowing people to get to know us as individuals instead of just kind of whatever scare headline they're reading on Facebook, right, are all great ways to help make transgender identities feel less abstract and more personal, more human.
Iowa Safe Schools says since 2020, they've noticed an uptick in reported violence against openly LGBTQ students. Today, a federal judge blocked President Trump's plans to build a massive ballroom at the White House. The judge wrote, quote, "The President of the United States is the steward of the White House for future generations of first families. He is not, however, the owner." The judge says construction on the ballroom must stop, but is delaying implementing his ruling for 2 weeks in case Trump decides to appeal. The judge says the only way construction can continue is if Congress approves the plan. Today, a federal judge agreed to permanently block the Trump administration from implementing an executive order to cut federal funding for NPR and PBS, saying it was unlawful and unenforceable. He also says the First Amendment right to free speech does not tolerate viewpoint discrimination and retaliation of this type. The White House stated in the past that the two media entities are counterproductive to American priorities. The impact of the decision is not yet clear, and it will likely be appealed because too much damage to the public broadcasting system has already been done.